Come on, Club Pop. Go in there with him. Come on, go in there with him. Go in there with him. Go in there with him. Go in there with him.
Step away from the window.
Y'all can step away from the window. Y'all can come up out of there. So y'all, I'm getting a little more.
Step away from the window.
Let y'all know this is the second time I've been here with this shop disrespecting black women. This is over with. The last time it's gonna happen. Y'all step away from this window, or y'all stay here, continue to support these people that continue to disrespect y'all. And when black men stand up for y'all by these clowns disrespecting us, we don't get the support we need from y'all. Y'all get away from that. Y'all come on
out. Y'all need to come on out. You've been warned. We're going to shut it down.
Thank you.
All right. No problem.
Move.
All right. See that?
Move. I told you to move.
That's not right. Somebody should call the police on that.
You get 911.
I told y'all to come out. Come out. Come out.
Back it up.
Come out.
The brother said he wasn't playing. He's not playing. He said he wasn't playing. He is not playing. That's okay. He know. He knows. You got another one.
Yeah.
Take it in.
I got mine. I got mine. Stop playing. Y'all play too much. We talk too much. That's it. Quit playing. Stop disrespecting black women. I ain't say that.
Don't move. Don't move. Just put it in your pocket.
I'm not hiding. I'm not gonna keep doing it. Yep. Come on up out of there.
Back it up, sister.
Ain't no question. Okay.
Let's see who all peeking up and going in this piece here. Oh, they still getting productive business. Oh yeah, business booming. Yeah, they done. What up? What up, Delilah? Good. Be quiet. Quit talking to me. I'm just checking stuff out. Yeah, they kind of deep in there. They definitely kind of deep in there. Business has not changed. Yeah, that's a shame, bro.
Shut them down, y'all. Shut them down.
They definitely still busting. They still doing. More than that, they in there like ain't nothing ever happened.
Now, this happened in Chicago, and it made the rounds in the news and on Black YouTube, especially with this angst that's going back and forth between the men. It seems like, when I said this, like almost 2 years ago, once you defeat the women or the other side with the women, men are still going to fight. So they turned on each other, which is what you're seeing. Men are now turning on each other with this, I would say, the ciphers versus the red pills, okay? Civil war, so to speak, between men. But the thing that has been going on is that, or the discussion that has been going on, is that it doesn't matter whether you have consent of the women. You should go ahead and do it anyway. If you man up and become masculine and you show leadership, then women will follow. And if you find your nuts and stand up and actually show leadership and actually demonstrate that you're protecting black women or standing up for black women will acquiesce. And this brother did. I have to give him credit. He put himself in jeopardy, physically and legally, and put himself out there, like the old school brothers did back in civil rights. I have to give him credit. And he put his money where his mouth is, basically. He took the risk. He threw the bricks through the nail shop, believing or hoping that the black women would follow. Got arrested, did his little time, got bailed out, and came back a week later, and guess what happened? Nothing. You can see the nail shop all boarded up, And same women that he's trying to protect, guess what they were doing? Going back in that same shop because we felt that they were disrespected. Evidently, they didn't feel that they were disrespected, and they basically didn't ask you to step in for them. I'm saying it to say this. The logical thing for black women being hit on or disrespected or violated, it should be a no-brainer that you shouldn't patronize that particular business. You should have enough of pride and racial pride, of racial self-respect not to patronize a business that doesn't serve you or doesn't serve you properly. That man should have never had to throw bricks through a window to show his frustration. That's really all it was, black male frustration. On both ends, black male frustration to get the women to move and the black male frustration to realize that they won't. So this notion that you can actually do something with a community without consent of your women is, dare I say it, bullshit. And I had a lot of pushback when I said that. I mean, a lot of pushback when I said it. On both sides of the aisle, that they said that you don't need to consent of the women. All you have to do is be a man and lead and do what you need to do, and the women will follow. And I respect my brothers, my younger brethren, because even though they've been around a long time, because they're not 20 years old, they're experienced. You know, they've been through some stuff, and I would never discount their experience. But I'm an old dude, man. I'm an old dude that's been around that block 3 or 4 times, and I done seen this up close and personal through 3 generations, and I know better. Because I've been behind the scenes. I ain't just been up front. It hasn't been one of those things where I've done it personally or seen it personally. Man, I've seen this on an organizational level amongst the black community. I'm talking about people that are in charge. I'm talking about brothers like him on a community level that know that you cannot do anything in the black community without consent of your women. You cannot do anything in the white community without the consent of your women. Whole nations go to war. Nations do not go to war without the consent of their women. We go back to the Punic War when Hannibal invaded Rome, okay? Now the men went to war, but the women sold their jewelry to finance that war. They gave up their sons to actually send those bodies to war. A country does not move, a society does not move without the consent of its women. And the women know that they will get benefit or part of the spoils if their men actually win. A lot of what we think that suppresses women are not suppressing women. Women have to get a benefit. Otherwise, the society won't move forward. You cannot move forward without the consent of your women. If any man that does that automatically knows at the end of the day, a generation or 2 down the line, whatever you do will fail. So for us as African Americans, or black American men, the low men on the totem pole, you know, people hate me saying that, but the low man on the totem pole who has never had control of their women, ever, expect for their women, because you make a stand to follow them, to lead them, that they're going to follow you. As always, and it's always been true, they will follow you if there's a benefit for them. They will follow you if they've been trained to follow you in a certain manner. No, a lot of that training is actually done by their mother. Back in the day when my mother, my mother who's in her 80s, were cooperative and seemingly submissive, is because that's the way she was trained. It had nothing to do with my father's leadership. She was trained from the time she was small by her mother to be a wife. So when she got to be a teenager, that's all she knew. It wasn't like she had options. All she knew was how to be a wife. She might have known how to do a menial job or other kind of jobs, but all she was trained for is to be a wife. That's all she knew. Now, on the other hand, all he knew how to do was be a husband. Now, he had to go out and work and figure out how to make money in the economy. So he had to be more creative. But these are roles that these people were trained for. So even if my mother divorced, she was never, even though they separated, she was never really with another man, because That's how she was socialized. That's how she was trained. Because those options as a black woman were limited back when she was smaller, when she was coming up. But I can tell you, my grandmother, who was born in 1910, she was never a submissive type. They submitted to the game, as Warren Lance would say. They're married to the game. They submit themselves to the game, to the marriage, to the institution. They don't submit to you. And if that institution goes, they're not following you. They never really did. You were always a cog within the wheel, and not the wheel itself. You weren't the machine, you were the cog. And his brother found out he's a cog within the machine. He's not the machine itself. Now, we know historically black women could not survive without black men. That's obvious. So if they wanted to eat, they had to submit. They're not stupid. Now, this brother, no, he could have done a lot of damage. I agree with his sentiment. I agree with his anger. I agree with his passion. Okay, I agree with that. But what if he had hit somebody with that brick? Or what if glass had cut people in the face? I know he told him to move back. But what if he had a hard-headed black woman that didn't want to move back and he cut some people, he hurt some people? Okay, he would not have bailed out of jail. He took a big risk, and basically he took the big risk for nothing, because anybody would have told him that, dude, they're going to be back the next day. After they boarded up those windows, they're going to be back the next day. He went back the next week. Guess what? Same people that he chased out are back in that nail shop. And there were no Asian women. In fact, there was one black lady that was too embarrassed, but she wasn't too embarrassed to walk her ass in that nail shop. And all they could do was shake their heads. And all you saw was two brothers out on the outside yelling, shut them down. You see a whole bunch of women out there protesting at nail shop and helping them brothers out. You out here alone, black man. You can only do what they will let you do. This is the Gynocracy. You can only do what they're going to let you do. You can only lead them to where they want to go. You do not live in a patriarchy where they will automatically follow because they're trained to follow a patriarchy. I heard that from my aunt, because I thought my aunt was a submissive woman. Married my uncle when she was a teenager and was with him till the day he died, some 60 years later. And I heard my aunt talk about the negotiations that she had with my uncle. Now, while he had say-so in his marriage, she was very firm in the rules that she laid down as far as how their relationship was going to go. She was not submissive. She was cooperative because that facilitated her family. And I don't know where you guys get this, that all of a sudden this masculinity, or this demonstration of masculinity, is going to make these chicks that have been socialized over, 20 generations to be this way, it's going to change them. It's not. Especially when the feminist environment that surrounds you doesn't even inform it. And I can tell you right now, the Generation Zs already know that. And they're not having any race loyalty to this. If the woman don't cooperate, or the woman is not cooperative to their agenda, they don't care. They're going to dump her. They're going to take the woman no matter what she looks like that's going to fit their agenda. And you know what? I don't blame them. I don't blame them. It is what it is. You think you're doing something noble. This brother, this brother is just an example of somebody that thought he was doing something noble. He thought he was doing something to actually inspire his black women to do something different. And the fact is, he wasn't. Because at the end of the day, they're going to do what the hell they want to do anyway. They always have. And you're not going to change that anytime soon. And it's getting to the point, you can't even buy that loyalty. You look at these rappers and you look at these athletes that think they can pay their way out or pay their way to have submission of their women. Barack Obama was probably the shining example of a quote unquote black man. And you would thought that he would have complete submission of his woman. Guess what? Not so much. All I want brothers to do is stop fooling themselves. And everybody that tells me that black women will follow if you do this, that, and the third. All I'm saying is, prove it to me. Now, this was supposed to be your example of a man standing up and a man being masculine, a man leading his women. And guess what happened? They threw that shit right back in his face the next day. The next week he comes back and nothing's changed. All you have was boarded up windows. And them heifers were still lined up in there to get service, to buy the services that they wanted to do, that they wanted to have. And he's there yelling on the sidelines like most of us are, pleading with their women to actually change. You know, I become old and jaded. And all I'm saying is for all you people talking shit, show me, you know, convince me that this is true. Convince me. I don't need convincing. I need some hope. And everybody's trying to give me some kind of hope, some kind of indicator that this can be changed. And I ain't seen it. The only thing that's going to change these chicks' mind is the environment because they have to. And I've been saying that for the last 4 years. And right on time, I can tell you one thing. There's one thing black women have never done is disappoint me in their behavior. They're as predictable as a clock. And the thing is that you can't make a clock run faster than it's supposed to. And you can't make black women do something that they're not going to or their nature will not allow for them to do. And I thought you guys would have learned that by now. Well, the only thing I have to say to close this out, hope springs eternal. And hard heads have soft asses. And black men's asses ought to be pretty buttery by now. With that, I'm going to jump off here. This is BGS out, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.